Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this Entrepreneur Spotlight. I've started doing these over the last couple of years just because I've really come in contact with some great business owners that have inspired me. And I think that it's a great way to share their experience and like the challenges they've gone through, the tools they've collected, and to be able to kind of share that with the rest of the autonomy community. It's when you see people successful on social media or like just their website, all you're seeing is their front forward marketing that they're imbuing upon you. And so I think it's really valuable to be able to talk to entrepreneurs to hear the struggles so that you can relate with them, because you got to take a lot of punches to get out of the crowd and try something new, build your own business. So I wanted to welcome Summer Huntington to the autonomy community. Me and Summer have been working together on and off for the last few years. She has a beautiful, incredible business that's wide in scope that we're going to cover today. And I'm really looking forward to hearing about Summer's story.
Cool. Thanks so much, Josh. It's a pleasure to be here. And thanks for bearing with me on getting my studio set up here. Stoked to have some new technology, though. It's all about the high definition Zoom these days.
Looks good. Yeah.
Entrepreneur pro tip.
So, Summer, the audience really doesn't know anything about your background. Tell us how you kind of got into fitness and then this empire that you built.
Sure. Let's see. I've been an entrepreneur pretty much my whole life. I went to school at Western in undergrad in exercise science and continued on to get my master's in kinesiology. And upon graduation, I decided I wanted to start a mobile fitness business and travel to people's homes and bring them their yoga equipment plus their strength training. And so I started filling up my schedule with private clientele and just started as an entrepreneur right away.
How long ago was that? What year?
I graduated with my master's in, I want to say 2007, and I did a year of the mobile fitness business. And I was running all around town doing that and going from like Ferndale to Bellingham out to Sudden Valley and back. And so it was just a lot of mileage on my Toyota 4Runner at the time. And so I did that for a year, and then I moved to New York, and my only time ever where I actually worked for someone else. I did 1 year where I was a private personal trainer on the Upper East Side and did private yoga sessions and private personal training, built a clientele there, was their like top performer, had the most client hours in my first year. And then I was like, you know what? I really need to take a break and go to Costa Rica and do some yoga out there. And so did some soul searching and left that company. And when I came back, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to do this. I don't need a middleman. I can do this on my own. And so just started getting more referrals and building my business. And then I invented a system called Clubbell Yoga, which is a fusion of strength training and yoga. Launched an online course with another company I was working for at the time. And yeah, it's all been history since then.
So what gave you that first idea that you could break away and do something on your own?
You know, I've always been really into business. I was like in DECA in high school where I'd go to those competitions where you like mastermind and make your own businesses and present them. And just always had an entrepreneurial mindset. So yeah, it just seemed like the natural progression. I started teaching my seminars, building my private clientele in New York for a while. Then I came back to Bellingham. And now I'm actually at the Flow Shala, which is my brick and mortar studio here. We're on Astor and I Street, right down from Elizabeth Station off of Holly. And yeah, we've been here about 2.5 years. So kind of settled down from teaching seminars, and now I teach everything virtually. Got my virtual studio set up here right next to me, where we just pipe in our students from all around the country and all around the world.
What was unexpected when you finally like started to go out on your own?
Well, I would say when I started the Flow Shala, I had worked as a contractor for an organization that I developed the Clubbell Yoga program with for a while. And I developed a new program called Steel Mace Vinyasa. And so that was an opportunity for me to go out on my own and trust the legs that I had built for myself. And then I also had started producing my own courses and putting them on my own teachable platforms. I had about 10 online courses set up there. Did you just pull that up?
Yep.
So prepared and ready. So yeah, I guess the thing that was unexpected was I really did not know how to run a membership-based studio at the time. And there was a huge learning curve for me. So I hired a coach. All good coaches have coaches. And I worked with an organization that helped me really scale my boutique fitness studio. And we were, people don't know what Mace is often. It's very niche. It's definitely becoming a little bit more mainstream, but we would have wall to wall, 20 plus person classes. We'd have wait lists in our classes. So I guess I learned a lot throughout that process, but it was not that way at the beginning. When I first started, before I hired a coach and really understood how a membership studio works, we were like crickets. We had a good launch, but the first 6 months were really sparse and it was hard to get the business going because I didn't have the proper marketing integrated. But yeah.
Did you get lucky with your coach, or did they have experience with memberships and studios as well?
I hired a coaching organization that really specializes in boutique CrossFit studios and in weight loss. And so I would say there are some pros and cons with going the weight loss route. People in the yoga industry are very sensitive to weight loss, and I never had ran my business around caring about losing weight. I never had a scale in any of my personal training businesses. And then joining this company, the biggest emphasis on their marketing tactics was losing weight. And so that's a big problem. So I think really figuring out what the chief complaint of your client is and marketing to that will definitely, if you have something like weight loss, that was something that attracted a lot of people to us because they really wanted to solve that problem. So I spent a lot of money on Facebook marketing ads. We did a lot of sales meetings or interviews with people to see if the program was a good fit for them. And yeah, it was definitely a good experience, but I have learned so much about operations and marketing that I've stepped away from anything related to weight loss at all and really focusing it on functional movement, mindfulness, and just comprehensive wellness.
With that coaching membership, did you have access to multiple different experts? And so you had a wide variety to get feedback from?
Yeah, I've actually done several different coaching programs since owning the Flow Shala. So that one I did for about a year, and I had a coach, several different coaches throughout that. So generally that looks like you get a giant back end of all these videos and training videos that you watch, and you go through them in succession to learn exactly the technology side of setting up the marketing, setting up the ads, setting up operations within your studio. Setting up contracts is huge. Anyone that's wanting to do memberships, you got to have a contract in place and really stick to that contract. COVID has definitely nullified any and all contracts, but that was a big way that we kept our members consistent because they made the mental decision, I'm committing to this to become an annual member. And an annual membership is 12 months of, I'm going to continue to work with you. And having that mental commitment was really helpful for people. And we've had clients that have, they're not here for the weight loss, but they will say, they're like, I've lost 45 pounds going to Flow Shala without working out 5 days a week and, limiting my diet. I eat a sensible diet. I eat holistic, nutritious food, and I enjoy my training. So, yeah, I think hopefully I answered your question. It was a platform that involved lots of content and then accountability with a coach every 2 weeks, and then mastermind calls with the main guy in the organization. And he was really forward thinking in that virtual accountability coaching is going to be the next thing before COVID even happened. And so we had already had the legwork of creating these robust programs, but without having an accountability coach that's really touching in with you bi-weekly, those programs can only be so successful or so effective. And so at the Flow Shala, we've adapted our new membership is we do the Gold Unlimited annual membership or transformation coaching. And those are our two signature programs, and they both include accountability. So no matter whether you want accountability or not, it comes with your membership. So you're going to get way more out of it when you have a coach to check in with you and coach you through the whole process every single month.
So it's a new hybrid model of being able to utilize the online tools. You have a wider audience because of that, but you need that human touch, right, to keep them coming back.
Yeah, having the human touch point in those relationships with your coach, and they might be a coach that you train with, you come to their classes, but we have a very specific behavioral change model that we use. So we help people establish their goals and their intrinsic motivation for why they want to change. And we always refer back to that. It's like, why is this important to you? You know, oh, I want to be more fit so I can play with my grandkids as I age. I want to be able to have more energy. Well, why is that important to you? So it's really, it's about getting deep into people's intrinsic motivation so that they can be more motivated to show up for the classes and be more consistent.
Where did you come up with the name of your business?
The Flowshala?
Yeah.
It kind of just came to me one day. I have these, I've bought a lot of web domains over the years, and I have many of them that I've just been sitting on. So Shala means house. And so this is a big, I live, actually have lived here at the Flowshala during COVID downstairs. So it's a big red schoolhouse, and I'm an expert in flow-based training systems. And so it just made sense to call it Flowshala, because Shala is the Sanskrit word for house. So it's the house of flow.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about the culture of your business, and how much focus have you put into that? Did it just kind of spontaneously happen, or have you been really deliberate to build that?
So Flowshala is a DBA. So my original business, my LLC, is Fit Body Wellness. And I also am a real estate agent as well. And so I have another business. So I'm truly doing a lot of things, but it all comes down to like community and relationship building. So for Flowshala, the specific business, and same with real estate, it's all about over delivering on value. So we do, over COVID, I think I've taught over 60 hours of free meditation classes, free workshops. And then I've paid my staff, or my staff has also volunteered, about 40 hours. So over 100 hours of free content provided to our community. So over delivering on value so that people can build trust and get to know us in a more intimate setting, even if whether that's Zoom, a verbal workshop where it's more cognitive, or a movement workshop, or a meditation workshop. It's being in those small cohorts with people where they can actually connect with people and see what we're really about. So yeah, it's over delivering on value, having consistent marketing. I send an email newsletter out every single week. I have several different newsletter campaigns that go out. And yes, I know it's a little bit annoying to hear from businesses consistently, but we are mom and pop businesses and we need your support. And so we want to make sure that we're always top of mind and that you know what's going on. And I never send an email out that doesn't have value. It either has a blog with something to read, something educational, a free workshop where you get to actually come to a workshop that normally would be like, anywhere from $50 to $100 to come to an expert level workshop on this content, or meditation or whatnot. So we always try to put a lot of value out when we're doing our marketing newsletters. And just having good systems, having a good team. I can't do it all myself. And so I've really learned to scale my business in such a way where I hold membership sales teams meetings where we talk about our onboarding process and how to get client trust and how to show them upfront. We do a virtual walkthrough where we show them, here's all of the platforms you get to use. You get to even just poke into different classes and see different teachers and whatnot, which has been really cool. And then really going in depth, like we provide a 30-minute free transformation coaching session with anybody that's considering doing coaching with us so that they can get really clear on their goals and map out a realistic timeline. So I'd say having those systems in place where I've got a team of people that do that and carry out my methodology has been awesome.
Was it intimidating to...
I'm coming back. I just got to grab a yoga block because I'm sitting on the ground.
Okay. Was there moments of intimidation at the thought of starting another yoga studio in town? Because by now, yoga studios are plentiful and everywhere. At least pre-COVID, when you started.
I didn't really consider us a yoga studio when we first started. I have since transitioned into a yoga studio actually. But I know what we do is so niche, like steel mace. I have a bunch of mace back there. Probably should have grabbed one to show you guys what they are. Well, you probably saw them in the video, but I don't think there's really any competition because what we do is so specialized. It's a hybrid of functional movement coaching plus nutrition coaching plus behavioral change plus flow science. And then you're using this badass weapon that looks like, you know, a medieval, like the modern rendition of a medieval weapon. So yeah, I wasn't too worried about the competition. Definitely, there was 2 yoga studios, and that I've actually since gotten to know the owners super well through Zoom. There's a yoga studio down the street, Intent Hot Yoga, and then Bellingham Yoga Collective. So I think a year into when we opened, they both opened within less than a half a mile radius. But we serve different populations. So those studios are very much focused on their niche of hot yoga or just strictly yoga. And people really come to us for like high intensity interval training and mobility education and fascia. So we tend to attract a broader audience of folks that are more looking for like lifestyle change and consistency.
And they're hardcore.
They're actually everyday people. They are everyone thinks that they're really hardcore, but it's just everyday people. They get their hands on a mace. We train them to be hardcore and badass, but before they step in the door, they have no experience with the mace or the clubs. Yeah.
So Summer, you personally, when do you sleep? How many hours a day do you work?
My workflow is actually pretty nice. I do a full day on Monday, Tuesday, and then I have my son on Wednesday. I get him at like noon. And then Thursday, I'm in the studio from 11 to 4. Friday is a short day, again, 9 to 2. So I'm really a huge proponent for work-life balance, and I coach a lot of my clients to do the same as well. So I've had a lot of clients that were high performers, workaholics even. You know, I think setting up your life to be in a wave. So if I could walk you through our 4-day wave formula, it's intense. What's that?
Would you take a couple minutes and explain that?
Sure.
I found it really fascinating.
Yes. It's so helpful. So when we go high intensity, multiple days in a row, generally pertaining to exercise training, if we go to, let's say, a CrossFit gym or something that we're doing high intensity, heavy lifting, we're going to about 90% of our max heart rate, and we're just really fatiguing our muscles repetitively, let's say 4 days in a row, Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday, some folks will do. Generally, what will happen is overtraining or burnout or elevated cortisol levels. Adrenal fatigue can happen as well. Without that built-in recovery, our bodies can only last so long. And so generally there's a short shelf life with those high intensity kind of sports. And then the other version of that would be like weekend warriors, like, oh, I'm just going to go and do like a 50K marathon on the weekends with no training, and then no build up to that high intensity activity. So what we teach at Flowshala is how to wave your training. So it starts with the bottom of the wave would be, so if you picture like a sine wave, cosine, it's going like this. It's got peaks and valleys. So at the bottom, the valley, that's our no intensity day. That would be our open chain joint mobility. So moving all of our joints through their full range of motion. We might be using like a rad roller, self-myofascial release kit to release our bound fascia on our no intensity day. Then we build up to low intensity, and low intensity is yoga, which if we just do yoga, strictly yoga all the time, it's really hard to create that adaptation for strength because we're just in that parasympathetic zone, right? Just doing stretching and a flow, vinyasa flow, or just holding postures. So we go no intensity, low intensity, and then we're building up to moderate intensity. And that's where the HIIT training comes in. So we teach our clients to do, on moderate days, we're training between 70 and 80% of our heart rate max. Oh yeah, this is a video on my YouTube channel, How to Organize Your Workout Smarter, walking through the 4-day wave. Thanks, Josh, just on it. So our moderate intensity is 70 to 80% of our heart rate max, and then high is 80 to 85. And at no point do we want to exceed 85% of heart rate max. And the reason for that is we want to be able to bring our heart rate down in between our high intensity intervals so that we can control our parasympathetic nervous system tone. So we teach a very specific breathing technique called the chug breath. And it's basically like a big yoga breath. If you guys want to try it at home, you can just go with me. It's a big inhale, a pause, and then a 4-count exhale while you kind of just bounce your body. And it's called chugging. So you're just like bouncing your body up and down, keeping your heels on the floor to let your muscles relax. And if you've ever gone to like a boxing match and you see what the boxers do in between their high intensity rounds, is they're doing a similar version of that chug breath. How's the sound? Can you pick up any of the background sound or anything?
It's okay.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So yeah, the wave as it pertains to physical training can also be adapted to your workflow. It's going to go a little heady. So you got your no, low, mod, high, you're peaking at your high. And so the way I run my business is I have those moderate and high days back to back, and then I have that recovery day in between. And I always implement self-care. So I go self-care, research, productivity, and creativity, and peak at creativity. And self-care, a lot of people just forget about self-care, or they just omit it completely, or they're like, maybe I'm going to go on a retreat once a year and that's my self-care, but really having something to do for self-care every week. I do float therapy. I'll do like Epsom salt baths with, essential oils to relax my nervous system. I do body work. I'm doing somatic therapy. Of course, this is like my passion, so I'm doing a lot of those things. But even if you can get just 2 sessions a month, or even 1 a month, and then doing the Epsom salt bath or cold plunge therapy, just to allow your body to get into parasympathetic, is really huge, because you need that recovery time, you need that downtime, so that you can be creative and you can show up and be your best self in your business.
So with 3 businesses, well, you have with multiple businesses and careers, how do you condense work into just smaller sections of your day instead of just being ran over by notifications, emails, and team members blowing you up?
You got to trust your team and set boundaries. So my team knows that there's certain people that they reach out to certain things. So I have a person that manages our whole Karma Yogi cleaning team. That's our point person is Rena. So we use a group me thread for our Karma Yoga cleaners. We have a coaching thread with all the coaches on there. I just train them to be autonomous and trust my team to be the decision makers. And so when there's a freak out or some sort of emergency situation, we can handle it, and we have protocols. So just having good protocols in place, having team members that are on call. If I leave for the weekend, I always check and make sure that there's somebody that's going to be responsible if there's an emergency at the studio. I mean, remember I went and taught a seminar at Dobe one year, and the day I left, somebody had a heart palpitation and had to have it was something not related to the workout, but they had to have the paramedics come and get them. And I was like, of course, it happens on the day that I leave. So yeah, but it's just a matter of just trusting your team. And of course, the coach that was there did exactly what they were supposed to do and handled it really professionally, and everyone was taken care of. So
what's your team meetings like? How do you kind of structure that and sure that things come to the surface in order to be handled or to be worked on? And
yeah. So for team meetings for Flowshala, I have quite a bit of team meetings for real estate as well. So meetings are essential when you're running a business at a higher level, because at those meetings, you're creating action steps for your team. So both of my meetings that I run at the Flowshala, as well as my real estate team, I'm a real estate agent at Julian and Company, which is part of Molyot Group. And they're one of the top firms in Whatcom County, and just super a wealth of knowledge and years of experience. I learn a ton on those meetings. So at our meetings, we always start with just a gratitude check-in, or a centered check-in. And oftentimes we'll use that throughout the meeting. If we get into a stressful state, everyone's done their gratitude check-in at the beginning, done a little meditation, and then we'll set a timer for 15 minutes into the meeting when things get a little stressful, and we'll return back to that. We call it our CEO moment, centered, exhilarated, and orbiting. It's like a technique for facilitating flow state. So yeah, I use very, more of a human connection style of facilitating meetings. So I also belong to a community called the Lookout Arts Quarry, and we're a sociocracy there. And so we do very specifically oriented meetings where we have people on stack, or we're doing a discussion round or an exploration round. So, I'll have an agenda, and then I give people the opportunity to give their feedback, their wins for the week, or things they would do better. And so it becomes this dialogue of we're just constantly refining our processes about how we do things. And we do look at statistics. We look at our stats for our membership numbers and our teacher training numbers and all that stuff. So for Flowshala, I run 2 meetings a week. That's my workload, is to run an hour on Monday with our member experience team, and then an hour on Wednesday to run our teacher training meeting. And then the team carries out the rest. And then I just spend a lot of time talking to people and doing phone calls, and especially with real estate, I do about 10 hours a week of meetings with my real estate teams and masterminds that I'm in. And yeah, so it's been nice because I've streamlined Flowshala so much that I have all this extra time to now work on real estate.
So how do you navigate those difficult conversations when things come up?
With clients or with coaches?
Both. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say listening, being an active listener and holding space for people when they're having a tough time. You know, my turnover rate's very low at Flowshala, but there's always that time when somebody, you know, like we had a coach that was with us for 7 years and it was time for her to focus on other things. Or, you know, my studio manager is moving into more design work and we hired a new person. So I think it's just, my team always knows that I want the best for them and I want them to follow their highest truth. And I want there to be enough growth within the organization, opportunities for growth within the organization, that they stay as long as it serves them. And so when they do make a transition, it's generally, you know, it's challenging, I'm sure, for people to have that conversation, but I want to support them in what their goals are. So yeah, we haven't had any major problems or anything around that, but yeah, I haven't had, I mean, I would say the most challenging part of running a studio during pandemic was right when it started. We got a huge influx of people wanting to cancel their annual memberships that they had committed to, even though we had done everything on our part to keep the studio operating, we kept all 25 classes still on the schedule. We're still paying our whole team. We still have all the same expenses and more because of all the virtual, you know, microphones and lights and installing special video cameras for our tech and stuff, and all the apps that we have to now pay for for technology. So we dealt with a lot of very, very stressed clients that were fearful of, they either had lost their jobs or they were just in a really tough spot. They didn't know what was happening, what was coming next. So we did a lot of support and maintenance where we would give our clients like 2 months of free, just keep coming to the studio. We're just going to set you up. Just keep coming. It's free for you for 2 months and we'll just do a check-in. And so we were able to support a lot of people throughout pandemic with giving them access to the thing that allows them their sanity, which is their movement and meditation practice and our community. Because, you know, when we were in lockdown, that was like the one thing that felt normal, is like they could still see their friends and coaches and still keep those relationships strong. So yeah, when people are really, really stressed, you just got to breathe and not take on their stress and try to find a way that can reach them to give them the tools that they need to get out of stress, which is movement and breath and community.
Yeah, I remember when that happened, and I was really impressed with how well you pivoted through that, because you already had an aspect of online courses designed, and so you're able to not only take care of your in-person studio, but you've now branched out into larger memberships, right? That aren't just focused on the local area around your brick and mortar, but it was really great to hear that you were able to help everyone through that like traumatic experience with giving them just stick with it, right? And that helped them navigate through this whole experience personally, but then I'm sure also just really helped with the fondness that your students have for your studio.
Yeah, definitely. People have seen how hard we've been working and how consistent we are. And I get feedback all the time, like so much gratitude and thankfulness. And then, anytime that you're active in social media or consistent with marketing, there's always people that are like annoyed by the marketing. But I figure when you're reaching a lot of people, you're always going to get a little kickback. And I just encourage them, like, if somebody emails back and they're like, how do I unsubscribe? I'm like, just no worries at all. Just go to the bottom and click that unsubscribe button. It's totally all good. And so, yeah, just trying to attract the people that value what we're doing and, understanding too that this is a small business. We are not a corporation. We are literally a single mother entrepreneur running this whole thing. And, your memberships matter to us. And we want to over deliver on value and keep this thing going so that when pandemic ends, that we still have this beautiful facility and team and community. So I encourage anybody that's listening out there that's curious about Flowshala, just go to flowshala.com. You can do a month trial and check us out. It's pretty rad.
So this might be a silly question, but Summer, how do you stay motivated? Are you just constantly on nowadays, but
Oh
if
man, no,
so,
I've had my hard times. I mean, I was like, when I was going into real estate, I was really questioning, like, oh my gosh, is the fitness industry going to be viable? Is it going to be completely wiped out? How long are we going to be in this pandemic? And so I just wanted to make sure that I had a backup plan in the event that things were not shifting. So yeah, I've definitely, when I it takes a lot to get me there, but it just allows me to recreate. Like I've gone through so many moments in my life where I've just recreated myself, rebranded a thing, created a new idea from really, really difficult times. And one thing that came out of that really, scared time of like, okay, it's the holidays, we're dropping in memberships. This is totally out of my control. Now we have to lock down again. One thing that came out of that was like, I just really need to shift my focus to education. And so I did a lot of soul searching and got really clear on who I serve and why I serve them. And so now I have a 100-hour teacher training curriculum that we just launched. It's ongoing for the whole year. You can enroll at any time. And now we help yoga teachers, burnt out yoga teachers and personal trainers that want to basically level up in their education and provide comprehensive wellness coaching, movement coaching, and steel mace, like specialize in our very niche steel mace work. We basically give people that whole body of work to be able to curate a business that's really going to attract the right clients. So yeah, I stay motivated by knowing that what I'm a very purpose driven business, and I know I'm affecting people's lives every single day, and I get that feedback all the time. So it makes it really easy to keep going because you get those emails where they're like, thank you so much for giving me my life back and my body back and my confidence back. And it's not about like vanity. It's about like how we feel and being able to have that mental clarity.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's your most satisfying moments being a business owner, and how do you take care of yourself, reward yourself for all the hard work you do?
I would say I just live a pretty modest lifestyle. Like, even though, we'll have really high months where we're like crushing it, and then really some months where it's like, we're just like maintaining. I just try to live like modestly with the things that I need. And, if I want to go on a trip or like a special, trip or something, I'll do that obviously when COVID opens up. But yeah, I would say just having good times with friends, like doing fun, like mountain biking is really big for me in the spring and summertime, going on mountain biking, little mini trips around at the Pacific Northwest. Having time with my son. I mean, I'm just like anyone else, just like to have a good life and be surrounded by like-minded people that are inspiring. So yeah, try to stay balanced there.
If you had a chance to start your whole career all over again, what would you do differently?
That's a good question. Gosh, I don't have an immediate answer for that, but I've just always been into business. So the real estate transition seems like I am actually starting all over again, because I'm known as like an expert in the flow state field and with steel mace, because I've been doing it for like 15 years, and we have the only 100-hour teacher training curriculum. Like, when people look for steel mace and yoga, they're coming to us. So it's been really interesting going from being an expert in one field to a total noob, learning, contract law and, learning all the nuts and bolts of working with buyers and sellers and listing homes. Like, I actually have had the experience of starting a literal second career. And it's exciting because it just opens up new neural pathways, and I get to be surrounded by different people and different conversations. So I really enjoy, I have what's called the mobile listing service. MLS is how we look at all the homes in Whatcom County and beyond. And so being able to like research and see all the supplements and the history of the home and the maps and everything, the plat maps and, all the pictures and things like that. It's been really cool to curate like home searches for my friends that are wanting to buy homes, or anybody that we're working with the Julian and Company team. So yeah, it's just like a totally new pathway and skill set and language. So I'm enjoying it. And yeah, I would say I'm not leaving the Flowshala. I'm going to keep doing both. It seems like a good segue to like bring people into our communities and connect them with other small businesses and community members. Seems like a good natural progression for me at this stage of my career. After doing fitness for like 15 years, I'm like, all right, cool. Let's reinvent. Let's do it.
Well, yeah, you're helping people with their in-body homes, right? And then helping them with their exterior homes too.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, it is about like manifesting like a person. Like I just talked with a friend today and she was telling me about her dream home. She wants like 5 acres. She wants to be able to have, you know, a property and be able to connect with the land. So it's like listening to your client and understanding what their dream is so that you can help them manifest it or kind of be a part of that process and walk them through that process, because it can be scary and they don't know all the ins and outs of how to locate those homes or how to build rapport with the selling or listing agent, you know, or, you know, how to have their offer be a competitive offer. So I'm just learning all these new things that are exciting because it's just totally new to me. And anytime you do something new, it's not just the novelty of it though. It's like, it's literally helping somebody manifest their dream vision that they have for their life, whether they want to start a family or, you know, move to this new place because they want to have other, you know, different opportunities at this particular place or home or be closer to work or whatnot. You're really helping them manifest their dream into a reality, which is the home.
Yeah, that must be satisfying. What are the top 3 skills for a successful entrepreneur?
Oh gosh. Well, obviously hard work, because even though it may seem easy, like, oh, I only have a couple meetings at Flowshell and I'm just sitting on meetings all the time. You have to be consistent with your hard work, you know, and show up for people, you know, like people need to trust that you're always going to over deliver and that you're going to be having their back and doing and following through on what you're saying that you're going to do. I think that summed up like hard work and just consistency.
Yeah.
And then I would say not being afraid. The last one would be like not being afraid to change things when they fail. And not trying to keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. So if a business model, for example, in the fitness industry right now, membership-based fitness studios are on the decline. We are consistently losing members every single month. So for me, I saw that model. I was like, this model is no longer going to work because people want to do things on Zoom. The market is completely saturated with Zoom fitness classes. How do you stand out in a market that's completely saturated and you don't have the ability to see people in person? So I reorganized my business model so that all of my marketing efforts are driving traffic to our specialty, which is our 100-hour teacher training, which is basically a huge mastermind for people to level up and get new skills. And I truly think that 2021 is about personal development and education, because that's really the most that we can do with investing in our time. Like, we don't have a ton of entertainment right now, so why not invest in your education and gain a new skill set and redefine yourself, reinvent yourself, so that, you know, come 2022, you have a new skill set and a new vision for yourself. So yeah, I just flipped the model and it's like, cool, instead of focusing on memberships that are, you know, they can come and go, wax and wane, I'm going to focus on this higher investment program that's going to make me more satisfied as an entrepreneur, because I get to work with these high level students that are super dedicated and creating this container where they are going to get this awesome education. I'm basically distilling my like master's in kinesiology, my 500-hour teacher training, plus 15 years of mace and steel club practice and fascia into like 100 hours. So I'm like, cool. I maybe took, 5 years to get my master's and my other yoga teacher certs. You're going to get it in 100 hours. Here we go. Let's do it. So yeah, just like not being afraid to flip the model and to look at different models. That's
great advice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite software right now as a business owner?
I really like the Teachable platform for my online courses. I find it really easy to use and bundled all my courses there. I like that it has like comprehensive quizzes built into it. It's super great. So anybody that's an expert looking to put a course online, I recommend Teachable. But I've heard other good things about like Thinkific is a good one as well. And then I use Kajabi for all of our online classes, and Josh has been helping us just get that curated, which has been, I'm so glad I switched to Kajabi or have a second. They're separate. So all of my like teacher content is on Teachable because it has the quizzes integrated, and all of our filmed classes from Flowshell. We have like a 200 class library plus a bunch of high definition videos from our YouTube that are all condensed there as well. and I'm starting a podcast, and the podcast will be housed on Kajabi. So Kajabi is freaking awesome because it allows you to create these non-salesy like funnels to drive traffic to take an action. And so it's been great for me to like hold my workshops where it's just a funnel that's quick and easy, and they get a reminder. The Zoom is integrated. They show up. Like, it's been a great way to get those webinars with real people in the room, making those connections. Mm-hmm.
How do you handle notification overload?
Well, as you know, I don't have my notifications on my Facebook Messenger, which is why you don't get hold of me very much. Honestly, in real estate, you got to be super on it. So I started turning my phone on for the first time in 3 years, I would say, where I used to just have my phone on silent or quiet mode all the time. So what I do, especially for real estate, when you're in real estate, you need to be available for people when they want to talk. So I just send a text like, hey, when's a good time to talk for you? And we'll schedule it like the next day or later that afternoon. So I like just having it set in my calendar and just organize and training my clients to, text me and then let's set a time to talk versus just, calling all the time or texting all the time. But I mean, I haven't gotten too overwhelmed with it. I'm just used to the flow of checking my phone throughout the day, but I do have quiet hours where I'm not checking my phone, like before bed, or if I'm with my son doing an outdoor thing or something. But I mean, the truth of the matter is in running a business, you're constantly communicating with a lot of people, but you just train yourself to be able to keep in touch with a large, tapestry of humans all the time.
What's your relationship with social media? You have 5 pages? And
I have quite a few pages on Instagram. I have the Flowshala page. I have Steelmace Vinyasa. So those are 2 brands within the company, the Fit Body Wellness LLC. I have my personal page, and now I have my real estate page. So actually I have an event that I curate called Flow State Summit. So there's a page for that, which is pretty dormant right now because we're not really doing events. So I have a team member, Xander. He's freaking awesome, runs our social media for Flowshala. So I'll occasionally post something there, but he knows exactly like the verbiage we use, who our ideal client is, what their problem that we're solving is. So it's been just rad to just give him the reins on that. So he does a post every single day. He does it timed out, so I don't even have to really touch that. And then my social media, I wax and wane from posting a lot if I'm really excited about a thing to, taking a little time off. So it just I just think of it as like, this is a way to serve my community, give them value, connect with them. I do a lot of Instagram lives where I'm just talking kind of like podcast style about a thing or a topic. But yeah, it's just like another free marketing tool. So I think a lot of people can be have an aversion to using social media in a self-promoting way. But that's really a self-limiting belief, I think, to keep you in the status quo. And so if you want to do something great, you got to really show up and have really high quality content out there. So yeah, I think I have a healthy relationship with social media. I'm not like sitting on it, more than I post a thing and then I'll check it like later on that day. But I'm definitely I think during COVID lockdown, digital consumption was just like through the roof with checking, all the things about COVID and stats. And I found myself going through a time where I was like, oh my gosh, this is causing my body to not feel great. Like I started having ghost symptoms of COVID one day because I was researching COVID so much and had a little anxiety panic attack. And I was like, okay, this is what it looks like to be really connected to your phone and the fear response and all this buying into all this stuff. And so I had to just kind of step back and be like, yeah, no.
So having systems set up for social media use and a support team so that there is constant content going out, but it's not all your responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Facebook marketing, I work with you for a lot of my Facebook marketing content, and your team does an amazing job with just getting the text copy, I'll barf it out and then you guys polish it up. And I'm like, whoa, that's totally different, but it's so much more polished. So thank you. I think I have a way with words, and I look at your guys' stuff and I'm like, oh my God, that's so much better. So yeah, having systems, having awesome teams. So I used to run all of our Facebook ads for like a year and a half, and it was a lot of work and time. And just like, I would like run all the ads and get all the campaign budget optimization set up and like put all the copy in all these different ways. And it's just like so laborious. And sometimes I'd like get it all set up and then something would happen where I would lose it all. And so hiring you has been really great for my mental sanity and space. And I think that's why I have so much space, because I can just send you the video, send you the copy, you put it all up, and our ads run, and I don't have to worry about it. So I love it.
Thanks for saying that. That's really sweet. And how is your relationship with like relinquishing control as a business owner to get all these support systems set up so you can be the most healthiest you?
Yeah, I think it's been a natural progression. I would say probably 2 years ago when I was running this business, I was not where I'm at now. I wanted to have I didn't have that trust or the systems built to trust my team to be able to do all the things that I was doing, because it was still so new. And we were still getting used to those processes of scheduling all of our, incoming potential clients and how to run those meetings. So I think after I had to do it myself and get in the trenches and do it well, and then write out the systems. And I'm continuing to refine those systems every month. Nothing's ever done in business. You are constantly in a state of refining. So don't think you can just write the operations manual out one time. It's like, it's going to change, and situations and circumstances change. Like COVID has made us adapt and pivot and continue to refine. So it's just been a process of trusting the team and not being a control freak. Yeah.
Well, Summer, what are some activities that you can recommend for entrepreneurs to invest their time with? Like, how do you absorb information?
I would say it depends on the business, finding a coach that can really help you assess your goals and has tried and true systems that are going to get you to your goals. Always having some investment in personal development. I'm in 2 masterminds right now. One's for Buffini, which is building a referral-based business in real estate. And then the other one is B School, which is by Marie Forleo, who I've followed for years. She's got a podcast. She's like very much like a women's empowerment business entrepreneur. Just really love her work. And so I've just joined her B School. So I'm doing her 6-week intensive. So it's like never just settling and thinking you've got it all figured out, but always continuing to invest in yourself. And same for my programs. I would never ask people to invest, such a high dollar in my education for Steel Mace Vinyasa if I hadn't invested so much in my own personal development and education. So it makes it really easy to over deliver on that, because I know what it's like to be in those masterminds, and I really want to make sure that they're coming out of it with lifetime access to my the 4 prerequisite courses. They've got 3 manuals for their teacher trainings. They got templates. They've done 20 hours of teach backs and practice hours with the movement labs. They've come to office hours. They've got recordings of all that. So just making sure that they are really set up for success. And of course they got to do the legwork. They got to try and fail and refine multiple times. Yeah.
How do you like to digest your personal development information?
How do I like to digest it? Oh, I do a lot of the online content. It seems to be a really good platform nowadays. With real estate, I did my 90-hour course online. With the B School, it starts next week. There's prep work. It's all online. High definition, high sound quality is key. And having good worksheets and action items, because you can watch all the online content you want, but until you start taking action and trying things, and I think a lot of creatives and entrepreneurs have a mental block from their ideas phase into actual manifestation. So writing, sharpening the sword of how do I communicate my ideas on paper in the proper formats. So one format would be a proposal, a project proposal. There's many different templates online for a project proposal that go into the executive summary, the purpose of it, the budget for it, the different roles, the different outcomes, what does success look like? So, starting with project proposal could be a great beginning starting point. And then for me, a lot of my work is in just, crafting master classes and, sales systems like funnels and stuff, and how to really speak to my ideal client and what their problem is so that I can provide a very easy solution for them. So yeah, digesting it through the virtual medium and action.
Excellent. Well, Summer, because you're in your mastermind groups, this might be an easy question for you. Where do you see yourself in 6 months?
In 6 months, I see myself here at Flowshala half the time, and then at my new office, which is downtown with Julian and Company. It's a brand new building right across from the red light on North State Street, and it's this hub. It's a really beautiful space. There's a courtyard and roll-up garages. Feel free, anyone can come by and pop in. It's gonna be like kind of a hangout zone. In the downstairs, we've got like art, and there's a tap house on the corner. It's a slate building. So yeah, I'm really excited to just be there more and really step away from, like, I only really need to be at Flowshala for about 3 hours a week. And so really just trusting my team to do the thing. And I'd love to see the studio more full with clients, and I'd love to just come into classes and take more classes when we get there. So yeah, my ideal day would be, or week would be, like 3 Flowshala classes a week, heading over to JCO, working with our clients and our team there, showing homes, working on my passion projects, teaching seminars. Yeah, just all the things that are just part of my flow. It may seem like a lot to some people, but for me, I'm like, I like doing the high level tasks, and yeah, it's fun for me to challenge.
Now, one last question. How important is it to paint that picture for your future?
Oh yeah, in any personal development, you always got to have a vision for where you want to end up, or otherwise you might just end up anywhere. So vision boarding's key, meditation and visualization in your meditation. So it's a aspect of performance coaching. Like, I was an athlete, cross country and pole vaulting and volleyball for a lot of years, and you always want to map out the course that you're gonna, or the game, you want to map it out in your mind so that by the time it comes, you're ready and you've already kind of thought through some of the problems that could arise. So it's very important for me to do visualization, and I definitely think I'm due for just reverse engineering what I want to accomplish. And I find I look through old journals, and I have found one about the Flowshala like 2 years before I started Flowshala, and what our key values were, and it's totally manifested. So anytime you write things down, you visualize, you talk about it, you bring it into relationship with people, it's all part of that manifesting process.
Summer, thank you so much for your time. Where can people follow you if they want to learn more about you?
You can go to Instagram at Summer Huntington, just summer like the season, Huntington with a T. And you can go to flowshala.com. You can go to steelmacevinyasa.com. You can throw my name in the Google search bar and find a bunch of videos on the YouTubes, but usually just Summer Huntington for YouTube searches. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. This has been really valuable. I'm going to ask if anybody in the audience has any questions. Feel free to unmic yourself and ask away.
Cool.
Oscar says, no questions for now. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name's Luca.
Hi.
I'm calling from London, UK. It's 8 p.m. right now.
Awesome.
I'm actually training to be a yoga teacher right now. So I was just wondering if you have any advice for, I'm qualifying in November. So I was just wondering if you have any advice on how to kind of get the best start as a teacher. I guess in a kind of financial sense, but also connecting to my niche, my kind of I heard that, certain groups of people are kind of attracted to you once you qualify. It's kind of like a kind of mystical thing that can happen. But I was just wondering if you've got any advice around that.
Absolutely. Do you know what style of yoga you're going to be teaching? And
I'm currently training in Hatha, but I've got an idea. I love the movement studio idea. I'm really quite interested in kind of the kinetics of the human body and optimizing the way that you run and you breathe kind of holistically. So I'm kind of using this as a kind of bedrock, but going into that kind of that realm as well. So
very cool. Well, first thing I would do would be go to the Flowshala website and go to teacher training.
Yeah.
And schedule a call with me. We can do like a 30-minute deep dive. It's just complimentary, and talk about your career goals in the event you want to explore that program. Totally an option too. But really reverse engineering your goals as a yoga teacher, but also as a business. I've had many people come into this program and have never been coached in the business side of running a full-time movement coaching career. And so I always say, all right, what if you had your ideal work week, how many days a week or what do you want to earn per month? And then how many days a week do you want to be working? So one example somebody gave me was like, oh, cool. I want to earn like, $6,000 a month. Cool. Let's reverse engineer that and see, okay, if I have a premium coaching service, which we coach all of our students on how to create like the mindfulness piece, the nutrition piece, and the consistency with the 4-day wave. And we give like tracking manuals. We give that to all of our clients and all of our students.
Right.
But it's like, how do we reverse engineer that high level experience so that you can attract the right people that really value that and make sure that they see a progression. So one thing I've noticed with yoga teachers is oftentimes they're just taught the yoga postures and they're taught to do it in a group setting, but they're never given like the business coaching for how to be like an entrepreneur or a private contractor where you're creating your own business and really adding value to your services. Yeah. So definitely go to the Flowshala website, get a call scheduled with me, and I'd love to kind of break that down a little bit further for you. Did that help a little bit?
That sounds great. Thanks.
Awesome.
I will do that.
Cool.
Well, excellent. Beautiful question. And looks like, Lugo will be able to get all the answers he needs. Thank you so much for making yourself available to the autonomy community. We'd love to have another chat with you sometime, maybe dive deeper into that 4-day work wave that I would love to adapt. And that's something I forgot to do too, was to figure out how much I wanted to work before I started working, because now I'm like backpedaling to try and create more space for my family and self-care. So thank you so much for sharing all this wisdom with us. And I look forward to getting back in your studio.
Yeah, we love to have you, Josh. And thanks for all the hard work you do. And it's been a pleasure to hang out with you guys, and looking forward to hearing the podcast and sharing it out with my community.
Have you found that your skills aren't matching up with the challenges ahead? Here are 19 essential skills for success that school never taught you. Get your free copy by following the link below or visit getautonomy.info/19skills.